Imagine retiring by your 40s, living a life of financial independence. That's the promise of the FIRE movement. Picture this: a life where work is optional, where you're free to pursue your passions and dreams without the worry of money. This is the allure of the FIRE movement, an acronym for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The concept is simple: save aggressively, invest wisely, and retire decades earlier than the traditional retirement age. It's a dream that's gaining traction, captivating countless individuals yearning for a life unshackled from the constraints of a 9-to-5 grind. The idea of having control over your time, of having the freedom to choose how you spend your days, is undeniably appealing. It's a siren song that has many sailing towards the shores of early retirement. It's a movement that's sweeping across the globe, attracting millennials and Gen Zs alike, all in pursuit of financial freedom. But does the FIRE movement work for everyone, or is it just a pipe dream? Scene script. Dr. Sarah Stanley Fallon, author of The Next Millionaire Next Door, provides some insights into the harsh realities of the FIRE movement. The financial independence, retire early movement, or FIRE, is often painted with a brush of optimism, promising freedom from the traditional 9-to-5 grind. But Dr. Fallon suggests that the picture isn't always so rosy. One of the primary criticisms she points out is the high savings rate that the FIRE movement demands. It requires individuals to save and invest up to 70% of their income. This level of frugality isn't a walk in the park. It necessitates a lifestyle of extreme cost-cutting, which, for many, can be overwhelmingly restrictive and challenging to maintain long-term. Another critical aspect that Dr. Fallon brings to our attention is the FIRE movement's dependence on market performance. The strategy heavily relies on the assumption that the market will continually provide positive returns. However, as any seasoned investor will tell you, the market is unpredictable. There's always the risk of a downturn, which could significantly affect the financial plans of those following the FIRE strategy. Lastly, Dr. Fallon highlights the lack of consideration for unexpected life events in the FIRE movement. Life is full of uncertainties, job losses, health crises, and family emergencies, to name a few. These unexpected events can throw a wrench in the most well-thought-out plans, and the FIRE movement is no exception. Its heavy focus on early retirement may leave its followers unprepared for these unforeseen circumstances. As we delve deeper into the realities of the FIRE movement, it becomes increasingly clear that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. The high savings rate, dependence on market performance, and lack of planning for unexpected life events make it a challenging path to tread. As Dr. Fallon puts it, the FIRE movement isn't for everyone. Economist Dr. Robert Shiller, a Nobel laureate, shares his concerns about the FIRE movement from an economic standpoint. Dr. Schiller's first worry centers around the risk of relying heavily on historical market returns. The FIRE movement's calculations often lean on the assumption that past performance is indicative of future results. Yet, as any seasoned investor will tell you, this is not always the case. The stock market, like the ocean, ebbs and flows, sometimes wildly so. The danger here is that if the market underperforms, those following the FIRE movement could find their nest egg dwindling faster than anticipated. Another concern Dr. Shiller raises is the threat of inflation. Many FIRE enthusiasts plan for a lean retirement, living frugally to extend their savings. However, as Dr. Shiller points out, inflation can quickly erode the purchasing power of those savings. As prices rise, the same amount of money buys less and less. Inflation, therefore, can be a silent, relentless adversary to those seeking to retire early. Lastly, Dr. Shiller warns of the potential for economic downturns. These can come in the form of recessions, depressions, or even lengthy periods of economic stagnation. During such times, investment returns can plummet, jobs can become scarce, and the cost of living can rise. For those who've left the workforce early, weathering these storms can be a serious challenge. Unlike their peers who continue to earn a steady income, they don't have the same buffer against economic downturns. The FIRE movement, in Dr. Schiller's view, could be akin to walking a tightrope without a safety net. While it might work out perfectly for some, for others, it could be a perilous journey fraught with unseen risks. Dr. Shiller warns that the FIRE movement could be a ticking time bomb for some individuals. Personal finance guru Suze Orman has some strong words for proponents of the FIRE movement. Orman, a seasoned veteran in the financial world, has been vocal with her critiques. She argues that the FIRE movement, while appealing in its promise of financial independence and early retirement, can lead to unforeseen hardships later in life. Orman's first criticism revolves around the potential for financial hardship in later life. The FIRE movement often relies on aggressive saving and investment strategies to achieve early retirement. But what happens when the market takes a downturn or an unexpected expense arises? Orman warns that without a steady income, these financial bumps in the road can quickly deplete savings and leave individuals in a precarious position. Another point that Orman raises is the lack of planning for healthcare costs. In the United States, medical expenses can be astronomically high, and they tend to increase as we age. Without a comprehensive plan to cover these costs, individuals following the FIRE movement can find themselves in financial jeopardy should a health crisis occur. Finally, Orman criticizes the FIRE movement's assumption of a frugal lifestyle. While frugality can certainly be a virtue, Orman suggests that it can also limit our experiences and quality of life. She argues that life is meant to be enjoyed, and a life of extreme frugality may not provide the fulfillment and happiness that we seek. Orman's critiques of the FIRE movement serve as a cautionary tale. While the idea of financial independence and early retirement is undeniably attractive, it's important to consider the potential pitfalls and challenges that may lie ahead. As Orman puts it, those who follow the FIRE movement without careful consideration may be, in her words, playing with fire. So, what does all this mean for those considering the FIRE movement? When we look back on the points raised by experts, some glaring concerns come to light. The allure of financial independence and early retirement is undeniable, but the reality of the FIRE movement may not be as rosy. Economists point out that it relies heavily on a strong economy and consistent returns, something we know can be unpredictable. From a personal finance perspective, the stringent saving and investing strategies can lead to a lifestyle that many might find unfulfilling or overly restrictive. It could also leave individuals exposed to unexpected financial shocks. The key takeaway here is the need for a balanced and realistic approach to personal finance and retirement planning. The FIRE movement is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and it's crucial to consider your individual financial situation and goals. Remember, the journey towards financial independence should also be about enjoying the ride. Is the FIRE movement a realistic path to financial independence and early retirement, or is it a dangerous financial fantasy? You decide.